Whether your goal is to gain muscle, shred fat, or build strength, the majority of your efforts in the gym should be focused around heavy compound movements and progressive overload. That's where 95% of your results are going to come from, and I'm not here to bullshit you guys with 3 weird exercises you've never heard before. That probably won't make any difference in your overall physique to begin with. Instead, what I want to do is address 3 major compound movements that are often underutilized and will help you not only build size and strength, but can also correct muscle imbalances and prevent injuries. So, if you like what you're hearing, smash that like button and let's get started. The first exercise is the reverse grip barbell bench press. The upper chest is usually a stubborn area to grow for a lot of guys, and most people usually go for an incline bench press variation to try to improve this area. But is this your best option? And the answer is no. In fact, a far superior option is the reverse barbell bench press, and you can do it either on a flat or incline bench. This is because the mechanics of this exercise make it very effective at targeting the upper chest, even when you're using the flat variation. Because with your hands reversed on the barbell, the focus of resistance will shift from your front delts to your upper chest. In fact, if you're interested in a more in-depth comparison of why the reverse press works better than an incline press, you can check out my versus video I did on this topic later. It actually goes over the mechanics of both exercises and clearly demonstrates which one you should be focusing on. But the main reason why you should include this exercise in your program becomes very apparent when you examine the anatomy of the human body. Any standard grip press, including the incline barbell press, will place your shoulders in an internally rotated position, which is a vulnerable position for the shoulder joints to be in, especially if you're not retracting your scapula before the start of every set. Even with proper form, guys, it can still become an issue when lifting super heavy weight if your form begins to break down. But with the reverse grip bench press, your shoulders are externally rotated, which is a far superior position to be in when benching. This means the joints are more open and less cramped up, which greatly reduces the chance for shoulder impingement or an ACL injury. So, if you can perform an exercise like the reverse grip bench press, which is more effective than the incline bench press, but with less risk of injury, why wouldn't you do it? Alright guys, now I want to go over proper form for this exercise. And you're basically going to get set up the same exact way you would for a regular bench press. You want to make sure you're retracting your shoulder blades and keeping them down and back. So what I like to do is start here and then basically slide myself down the bench to make sure my shoulder blades are retracted as much as possible. Keep a slight arch in your back. I like to stick my knees out, flex your glutes, and also keep your core flexed throughout the entire movement as well. Once you're in place, you're going to grab the barbell with your hands outside of shoulder width. So you're not grabbing here, you're grabbing here. And obviously your palms are facing your face because you're using a reverse grip on the movement. Once into position, you can have a spotter help you if you have a hard time unracking the barbell, but you should be able to do it on your own. You're just going to pick it up just like this. And then once you're in place, you're going to lower it down just below the bottom of your chest and then press it back up, return to the starting position. And this is how you perform the barbell reverse grip bench press. Now there are a few things I want you guys to keep in mind when you're doing this. You want to keep the barbell within this plane of motion. So you want to go a straight line from the bottom of your chest, pushing straight to the ceiling. You don't want to bring it down to the bottom of your chest and then press it up and over your face and bring the weight over your shoulders, okay? You want to feel a nice hard chest contraction, but you want to keep the barbell over your chest, not over your shoulders. Also, a lot of people complain about wrist pain when they do this. Usually wrist pain happens because your elbows start to flare out like this as you begin to fatigue or you're just not paying attention. So in order to avoid pain in your wrists, what you're actually going to do is take your elbows and you're going to twist them in as much as you can. So as you come down, twist them in and push them into your torso. And as you go up, make sure they're still staying twisted in so that you can perform the movement without wrist pain. And also guys, if you're going to do this on incline as well, you can. And you're going to set up the same exact way you would for a regular incline press. So about a 45-degree incline on the bench. And then you use the same exact form I just showed you guys, except you're not going to be bringing the barbell down underneath your chest. It's going to be more about mid-chest or on the upper portion of the pectorals as you perform each repetition. Again, keep those elbows twisted in so you don't have any wrist pain, and make sure you're pressing straight up, flexing and squeezing your chest as hard as you can on every single repetition. Also, guys, I know some of you are going to ask if you can use dumbbells for this movement, and to be honest, I would stay away from them. For the reverse grip bench press to target the upper chest, you need to have a wide grip. And for most people, as soon as fatigue starts to set in with the dumbbells, you can't really hold them wide enough to overload the chest with heavy weight, and the movement becomes more of a tricep press. Next is the dumbbell lat pullover. Now, while the majority of your back size and strength is going to come from exercises like deadlifts, rows, and pull-ups, your workout should always include a pullover type exercise, such as the dumbbell pullover or a similar version to this exercise, which is a cable pushdown. Now, despite being a compound movement, the dumbbell pullover is going to heavily focus on your lats, and more specifically, it will emphasize back width. So, if you already have some thickness going on, but you're interested in more width, pullovers should be a staple in your back workout. But if you want to include pullovers in your back workouts, you should know exactly how to perform them, because depending on the actual form used, you can end up training your chest or not target the lats as hard as you potentially could. So first things first, guys, you're going to lay flat on a bench. Now, you will see people in the gym laying off the side of the bench like this to perform the movement, but you do not need to lay this way to maximize the exercise. In fact, you'll be actually able to better maximize the movement to hit your lats or chest even harder when performing this exercise by laying on the bench the flat way, because you'll be able to maintain a stronger core because it's resting on the bench the entire time. Your feet are planted on the ground and your whole upper body is stable, allowing you to focus on just moving your arms behind your head and then back over your chest. So, in order to do this movement properly, to make sure all the resistance is going into your lats and not your chest, what you're going to do is lay down, like I just said, retract your shoulder blades, so make sure you retract your scapula. And then I like to basically position myself the same way I would be if I was benching. So my glutes are flexed, my core is tight, I have a slight arch in my back. And then when you lower the dumbbell, you basically want to lower it so that the dumbbell stays as close to your head as possible, and you're basically flaring your elbows out as much as you can while you lower the weight. So like this. Try to get the dumbbell as close to your head as you can, flare those elbows out, and as you get to about here, you should really start to feel some ripping through those lats, and you'll feel it continuously as you bring the dumbbell down as low as you can. Now, I have really healthy shoulder mobility, so I can actually bring this dumbbell all the way down. Once you reach the floor, you're going to bring it back up, but again, keep the dumbbell as close to your head as possible and keep those elbows flared out. So I'll show you guys again. This is the starting position. Flare those elbows out, feel those lats stretch and pull, come back as far as you can, just like this, go as low as you can, and then return back to the starting position. And we'll do one more repetition, come back, keep that dumbbell as close to your head as you can, flare those elbows out, really feel those lats pull, and then return back to the starting position and complete for all the repetitions that you're doing in your set. Now, if you want to gain more of an understanding of how to utilize this exercise for your chest, I will link you to my comparison video down in the info section below. And lastly, guys, remember that this is an excellent movement to include in your workouts if your shoulder mobility needs improving as well, as it provides extreme shoulder extension, successfully mobilizing the joint, and improved shoulder extension can help with squats, overhead presses, pull-ups, and of course, your everyday posture. The third and final exercise is the barbell glute bridge. Now, I notice a lot of dudes are usually not too fond of this exercise, and I can't understand why. Aside from building bigger and stronger glutes, if you're looking for more explosive power through your hips to increase your squat and deadlift, then this exercise should be a staple in your weekly routines. Most people, especially women who want to target their glutes, usually use some sort of glute kickback machine or even do glute kickbacks with their body weight extending one leg into the air at a time. This is not how you progressively overload your muscles for growth, and it's definitely not how you get the best results. Remember that your glutes are powerful, explosive muscles and need to be trained with intensity. And finally, for those of you with hip or lower back pain who might have a slight case of anterior pelvic tilt, this exercise will work wonders for you. And this is because it will force your glutes to work synergistically with your hamstrings and abs, and this is exactly how you correct APT. All right, so before I show you guys proper form with this movement, I do have a few things I really want you to take home so that you don't mess it up. And if you're a woman watching this video, make sure you pay attention because 99% of the women in my gym do this exercise incorrectly. It's like they go for speed and weight versus proper form, and they never really get that glute activation that they're looking for because they do this one mistake right here. And that mistake is they do not flex their glutes and hyperextend their hips at the top of the movement. Now I'm going to do this standing. It's going to look a little weird, so just bear with me. But you mostly see people do this exercise in the gym, so they're like butts on the floor, and they kind of do this. And their legs never really go straight, and their hips never lock out. On every single repetition of the barbell glute bridge, you need to flex your glutes as hard as you can, like squeeze your cheeks so hard together you can't even get your finger in there. And that sounds weird, but that's exactly how you need to feel when doing this exercise. All right? You're going to squeeze your butt cheeks as hard as you can, and you're going to hyperextend your hips forward. So you have to have this hyperextension at the top, or else you're falling short and you're not maximizing the benefits of the exercise. And then the other thing I want to say is you can put a pad across this barbell to do this movement. I personally don't like using one, and I've gone as heavy as 400, 500 pounds without a pad. If you find the sweet spot on your hips, which is usually about right here, obviously you're going to feel it a little bit, but it's really not that painful. If you have the barbell in the wrong place, then you know you're going to feel it because it's going to hurt. So for me, in order to maximize this exercise and do it right, I like not having the pad because it forces me to make sure I have the barbell in the correct position. So, to get into place, as you guys can see, I just sat down on the ground. And I'm going to roll the barbell over my legs so you can go like this and then roll it to you or get in like I just did. And you want to try to already kind of center yourself on the barbell. And then from here, you want to get your heels as close to your glutes as possible. The closer your heels are to your butt, the more pushing power you're going to have with your hips. If your feet are out here, you're going to have a really hard time lifting a lot of weight with this exercise, okay? And you're definitely going to have a hard time locking out your hips at the top and hyperextending through while squeezing your glutes together. So lay down on the ground. Now, I like to grab my shoes kind of like this and then pull them in as close as I can to my butt. And then once in place, I roll the bar forward, and then I'm not just holding it like this. I'm actually going to push the barbell into my hips so it locks into place into that sweet spot I was just telling you about. Then once everything is in place, all you're going to do from here is push through your heels and extend your hips to the ceiling. And then once you're here, you're going to make sure you flex those glutes and hyperextend your hips up as high as you can. Bring it back down, return to the starting position, and then push back up like this and repeat for reps. And if you have to reset after a few reps because you're sliding on the floor, that's okay. Just let go. Adjust so that your feet are close to your glutes on each side. Get back into position, and then start again all the way up, all the way down. Another trick you can do if you have a workout partner or if you can just find someone is you can literally have them stand like this so your head is right here. Granted, it's not the most flattering angle for them to be standing in, but if they stand like this and you have your shoulders pressed up against the heels of their shoes, it will prevent you from sliding across the floor, especially if you're using a lot of weight. So there you have it, guys. 3 exercises that you should definitely start incorporating into your workouts. And if you need help incorporating them into your current program, make a free profile on my website, muscularstrength.com, and post your questions in our forums. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.